Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome everyone to the channel. And for today's video, we're going to be talking about Imam Al Shafi and his journey with Ilm Al Firasah. What is Ilm Al Firasah and what is Firasah, and who was Imam Al Shafi? Imam Al Shafi was one of the greatest scholars in Islam, considered one of the four major Sunni Imams, and has one of the largest schools of Islamic jurisprudence. Moreover, his school of fiqh is taught all over the world and is taught till today. He is Muhammad bin Idris al-Shafi'i, who was born in Gaza at the year 150 Hijri, and he died in Egypt in 204 Hijri. He lived most of his life in Mecca, and he is of Qurashi lineage. Now, what is Ilm Al Firasah? Ilm Al Firasah is the knowledge of foresight. Firasah, in its linguistic meaning, means the ability to know the internal affair of an individual or of a matter based off of its external appearances. So to know what is inside a person based off of his appearance and his external looks and characteristics, whether it's physical characteristics and whether it is his own character. Now, Ilm Al Firasah enables a person to decide what is right from wrong, to know what is truth from falsehood, and to make the right decisions in their life, and to protect an individual from anyone who is trying to harm him, to be able to see through the masks of those who wish you harm. And so, Ilm Al Firasah was around during the time of the Arabs, and it was actually a knowledge that was frowned upon and looked down upon. The reason why it was looked down upon was that people were using their Firasah to expose the faults and sins and mistakes of others. What is the story of Imam Al Shafi'i rahimahullah and Firasah? Well, Al-Razi rahimahullah says in his book Adab al-Shafi'i, the etiquette of al-Shafi'i, that Al-Imam al-Shafi'i sought out Ilm al-Firasah for 3 years in Yemen. There he mastered Ilm al-Firasah, and it was in Yemen that he gathered information and many books about Ilm al-Firasah. He mentions that Al-Imam al-Shafi'i traveled to Yemen and learned Ilm al-Firasah for 3 years, and on his way back to Mecca, while he was traveling, he needed a place to rest. And so he came across an individual who was outside of his home, and he asked him if he can rest and stay the night with him. And so the man responded, Naam, yes. And Al-Imam al-Shafi'i, he noticed that this response, the way he responded to him, was of the response of a person who is mean and rude and cruel and who wishes no good and is stingy and miserly. And this is all based off of Ilm al-Firasah, what he learned during those 3 years in Yemen. So Al-Imam al-Shafi'i was expecting that this individual was going to cause him harm. However, Al-Imam al-Shafi'i sought the exact opposite. Fact of the matter was, this individual was very generous. He gave Al-Imam al-Shafi'i clothes to wear during the night, made him dinner and fed him. He welcomed him in his home. He gave him a mattress to sleep on. He gave him a blanket. Also fed the horse of Imam al-Shafi'i. And so Al-Imam al-Shafi'i was very surprised and shocked the way this man was dealing with him in a very gently and kind and generous manner. And so Imam al-Shafi'i was really reconsidering throwing all those books away that he had gathered about Ilm al-Firasah. He slept it off though, and the following morning he woke up and he got himself ready to go back to Mecca. And Imam al-Shafi'i had the intention of repaying him and told him that if you are in Mecca, ask about me. However, when the man heard this, he told Imam al-Shafi'i, am I the master of your father? And he said no. Continued and asked Imam al-Shafi'i, do I have a favor upon you? Imam al-Shafi'i then said no. The man then began to mention all of the good things he did to Imam al-Shafi'i. He fed him that night, he clothed him, he gave him a mattress to sleep on, and he also fed his horse. and he began to calculate all of the money that was spent on Imam Al Shafi'i. It was clear that this man wanted payback and that he wasn't going to let Imam Al Shafi'i leave until he paid him the last dirham that he spent on him. And so when Imam Al Shafi'i pays this man everything that he did for him that night, from clothing him to feeding him, the man then says, "You are the worst individual that has ever existed." And so when Imam Al Shafi'i went back to Mecca, and he was happy and glad that he learned Ilm al-Firasah, because he was proven correct and his Firasah was correct, and that Ilm al-Firasah is a knowledge that if attained, if studied, will benefit you. Unfortunately, today we don't have much resources when it comes to Ilm al-Firasah. Not a lot of it was recorded during the time of Imam Al Shafi'i and later on. However, there's still a handful of books about Ilm al-Firasah, one of them being Al-Firasah by Imam Al-Razi. Ilm al-Firasah is of two types. One is studied and learned. The other is a gift and is attained from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He gives it to his righteous and pious servants. With that, I hope you all benefited from this video. If you have, please like and share. Thank you all for watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.